problem. I'm going to give 3 steps to get it done. The first thing, back to your question, is I'm going to define what procrastination is and how it has to function along with middle clutter. The 3 steps to get more done is first to understand what procrastination is. Second, what are the high value tasks that I can get done, that I can make sure I accomplish. And then the simplicity of this is I'm going to give you one tool where all you have to do is 5 things a day. It's actually just 1 thing a day, but 5 things. And we call that create. Oh, goodness gracious. That's exciting. Let me go back. Now you've seen the whole presentation. That took less than 7 minutes. I'm not quite sure why we did that. On the 5 things, we call that, and this is the outcome of what I want, creating your 5 before 11 list. The 5 before 11 list is what are the 5 highest value actions that you will commit to accomplish before 11 a.m. What are the 5 highest value actions that you won't procrastinate on, but you're going to make a commitment to accomplish before 11 a.m. So this is the outcome of where we will end up. Now, this is why procrastination happens. When I ask, what is procrastination? This is procrastination. Procrastination is those thousands of things that are out there, the pieces of paper on your desk, the projects that you're working on, the clients that you need to call, the soccer uniform that you need to get fixed, washed, all of those things. Procrastination happens because we have too many things that we could do. And what we end up saying is, well, am I going to do that? Am I going to do that? Am I going to do that? And so we create some kind of a to-do list on a random sheet of paper that has 0 commitment. We haven't clarified it. And a lot of people tell me, I can't find my to-do list. I can't even find my to-do list. So what happens is we end up with all of these little things, unfinished tasks, swirling in our head and filling us with mental clutter. And people call it the actors on the stage. How many pieces of tasks can you hold in your mind at any given time? Well, the answer is 1. And so even as I look at this, I feel that distraction of, is this one more important? Or is this one more important? And so we don't know. And what ends up happening is we pick something up, we look at it, we put it back down, and we pick the next thing up, and then we put it back down. We have not created a commitment. Oh, is anybody else frozen? Hopefully not. Let's make sure. Please put no, I can see it. Let's see if anybody else is frozen. Oh, great. Okay, I can see everybody's frozen. Okay, great. Okay, so this is what the brain looks like, and we're actually going to be talking about that in our next webinar that's coming up. And I can't spell. I don't know if commitment has 1 T or 2. How many of us have looked at this? Because I don't know how many dots are on here. There are probably 1,000 things on here. How do we make a commitment as to what are the most important tasks? How do you dig through? Because if it's not important, you're just going to pick it up, put it down, and say, I'm going to do this tomorrow. And when you do it tomorrow, the next day, you have more things, and you have more things, and you have more things. So this is what procrastination looks like, as we just pile on more things from the day before, and the day before, because we've not committed to what's most important. This is what I really feel procrastination is. So I'll let you write these things down as you're looking at it. Again, I'm trying to define the problem of procrastination, because until we really understand the problem of it, we can't solve it. But procrastination really is indecision of which one of those things I'm going to do. Procrastination happens because of apathy. A lot of procrastination happens because I simply don't know where to start. What's that first thing? But there are some mental and physical things that happen because of procrastination. One is anxiety, stress, depression. And I think procrastination's happening more now because we're working from home. And a lot of realtors, those of you that are realtors on the class, you're already working from home. So it's not just the things we're procrastinating in our office, but it's also the things that we're procrastinating in our home. So this is brand new, whether you're new to the 7-minute life or past the 7-minute life. And I will have all of this up on YouTube later, and it'll have the handouts and it'll have all of this. Please take a screenshot of this. We're very excited about this quadrant that I've created. I'm a mathematician, so let's just make sure that people have time to take a screenshot of this. This is an XY graph. The bottom is low value tasks versus high value tasks. Obviously, every action you take has a value. Now, I'm hoping that this hour that you spend with me from 2:15 to 3:15 or 1:15 to 2:15 in Central will be a very valuable piece of learning for you. But every task has a value, low value or high value. We want to focus on high value tasks that move us forward. But the question becomes, what is the goal that they are moving us forward to? So if we don't want to procrastinate, if we have too many things we could do, then we have to define what is my goal that I'm going to focus on accomplishing, and what are the highest value actions that are going to take me. So this is the bottom, is the value of an action, low value actions, high value actions. The second piece, which is, again, this is being sponsored by the Florida Realtors Association, special shout out to their organization. But the second part of this is proficiency and effort. As you become more skilled, as you have more experience, we become more proficient. As we become more proficient, things get easier for us to do. And as they get easier for us to do, they take less effort. Well, the great thing about proficiency, as the more proficient you become and the easier something becomes, guess what? The less time it takes. And so as we become more efficient, we become more productive. So let's look at these quadrants then. The biggest problem that I see is this quadrant, where we spend our time on tasks that are low effort, they're easy to do, but they absolutely have zero value in our lives. And so to keep you engaged, I'd like you to start typing into the chat some examples of low effort, low value tasks that we spend our time on. I'll start out by social media. What are some things that we do? If you'll start the dishes, yes, all of those things is I'll be right in the middle of a project and all of a sudden I'll be pulled away into doing the laundry or the buzzer goes off. What are some other low value, low effort things? Email is probably the next problem. We get so many emails. One of the things I have done is I've called every catalog company and I've gotten off. I don't get any catalogs for my mail. So I get like 2 pieces of mail, shopping for things we don't need. So the problem is we spend the bulk of our time here. The 7-minute life, a lot of what we want to do today is create awareness. And so that's what this is about. The second one that I have are those values, and these are really dangerous, are high effort, low value. In other words, they're hard, they take a lot of time, and they don't do anything for you. They don't make you revenue, they don't accomplish anything on your to-do list, and most likely, if they're hard, they make you mad that you struggle to do them. Here's an example. I have a friend that's an executive at a local organization. They send out trinkets, to golf balls and that type of thing. And her boss regularly comes and asks her to send out golf balls, which is great. But here she is, a senior executive, being asked by her boss to go get 3 boxes, to put sleeves of golf balls in 3 boxes, to find the people's address, to put it in the mail room, and to send out golf balls probably takes an hour of her time. And that's a very high effort, low value use of a person's time. So as you're taking notes, and this one's a little bit harder to define, if you can think of something that looks like work, I'm not sure what that might be, retyping a flyer, or thinking that my 12 size font isn't good enough for my 14 size font. I'm not sure what these things are for you, but one of the things that I see are high effort, low value are planning to accomplish tasks, but never accomplishing them. So this is where you talk about things, but you never really get them done. So this low effort section, all of this is what takes up our time. What I really want to have you focus on are high value actions. And this is where it gets really, really exciting. The first thing we have to do is, if we know we're going to focus on something that's going to make us money, that's going to engage us in our job, that's going to put us around people that we like, guess what? We're going to be more excited. We're going to be happier to come to the office knowing that the work we're going to be doing is high value. Let me see some amens out there. When you walk in knowing that you've got a great prospect, you've got all the papers worked out, that all of a sudden you wake up feeling excited. I mean, it's that kind of thing that I hope I'm getting you to focus on. These things are easy. And when I know I have high value tasks, I do not procrastinate. There's not a bit of procrastination in me. Procrastination, none. There's absolutely no procrastination because I want to get it done. Okay, well, there are 2 types of effort. When I'm first getting started in real estate, and I have been told that there's a very high drop-off rate in real estate. So I want to encourage you, if you've just been here for a short period of time, you can absolutely change your business overnight by realizing if you focus high effort on high value tasks, there will be nothing that stops you. High effort, high value. Let me give you an example of that. To put together this class, this webinar, has probably taken me over 100 hours. That is a lot of time to give away all of this information. But the good news is, and I'm so glad that you're here. The good news is that I've spent that 100 hours over the last 10 years. And so now I am so proficient at this. In other words, my skill level has come up, that teaching today's webinar, today's class, has probably taken me 5 hours. Now, as you focus on high value, high effort things, they will make you money. All we have to decide is, what are they? Now, I'm going to ask you to put in, because there are only 3 things that I think are going to make realtors money. And I bet you can guess what those things are. And they are not necessarily easy. But come on, start putting them in, start putting them in. The first thing that's high value, high effort is prospecting. And I would love to do a class on prospecting. Lead generation is a great one. And here's a problem that we run into is, sorry, I'm going to come back here. This is kind of a mess. But a lot of people think social media is the best way, or send out an email. You know, this is kind of high effort, low value. Pick up the phone. You're going to see how that works in a minute. Number 2 is talk to as many people as you can, not to sell them a house, but to tell them what you do. You know, I'm on this class. We've had almost 300 people register for it. I would be crazy not to say, hey, this is important information. We've got more webinars coming up. These things are free. Show up. Help us spread the news. We've got more classes coming up. You know, reach out to us and say, hey, I want to come to these classes. but help us spread the word. So just tell people what you do. You don't have to sell them anything. Just say, hey, I'm Allyson Lewis. I've been in the real estate business for 5 years. There's a lot of stuff going on with COVID. People are losing their jobs. They're moving to new places. They're getting new jobs. Just, I'd love for you to think of me. This is my passion. You know, tell people you're super excited about it. And the third thing is to network. And that sounds, it really sounds crazy, but networking for me has changed dramatically in the last several months. We actually are taking this. I saw someone say, what would happen if I could plot these things out? I'll show you how that actually is going to work. Well, let me come back to that. But networking is a really key thing. So obviously where we want to focus is low effort, things that are easy for us to do that make us money. And I don't know why I hate to be that. I know a lot of you are realtors on here. Why do I feel bad telling y'all I want you to make more money? If you're not a realtor, you know, you may want to just have a better life, or what are those things? This is the place that we want to be. Is we want it to be high value, but we want to have become so proficient that it's easy for us. When it's easy for us, we're excited. And when it's easy for us, it takes less time. If it takes less time, we have more time for other things that are more important. So I'm going to take a breath. This is a mess. Let me get some feedback on this. This is brand new. I created this in the last several months. So tell me what your thoughts are about high value, low value. That makes us more valuable to your company. Amen. Makes sense. Well, I'm going to take it another step further in just a second. Really good stuff. I agree. I was so excited when I saw this because, you know, let me give you an example. So funny. I've been watching a lot of webinars, as you can only imagine, because there's a lot of things that are going on. And so as we get into the actual planning part, let me stop sharing my screen for just a second. The other thing that I really, let's see if I can make this work. Well, there it goes. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Can you see this? You can see when I focus on high value things and a lot of them, I can get more done. So I've had a lot of days where it was really busy, and what you're going to see is how to do that. Well, that was a Sunday, but I've really spent my time focusing on high value activities. And because I can basically rank them as to what's most important, I can look back from day to day and make sure that the things that are getting done are the important things. Okay, so let's move on. All right, that's pretty exciting stuff. Okay, so we've done that. All right, so we've looked at this. I'm going to make it even more clear, and then we're going to make it super simple, and I'm going to try to leave time for questions and answers. Again, I'm doing this without usually I have someone else monitoring the chat and helping with all of this. So those of you that have been, those of you that have been on the classes before, you'll kind of help keep putting questions in. So this is the high value graph, the XY axis of high value and proficiency. One of the things that I'm probably most excited about is just by being aware of this, you can look at your day already and see, did I focus on high value things? Was I wasting my time? So here's what happens and why people come to the 7-Minute Life. The 7-Minute Life is a time management company. We've created tools and resources so that you can create repeatable habits. In other words, we're going to continue to do things like we've always done them with what I call shower planning, which is when you wake up in a rush, you hop in the shower and a million things start rushing through your head, kind of like that image we were showing a moment ago. And then you hop in your car and all those things that you said were important when you were taking a shower, as soon as your phone rings, those things are gone from your mind and you just react to things. So the 7-Minute Life is a time management company, and we've created books and tools in these classes so that you can put a stake in the ground and say, I'm not going to live like this. And yes, Ruth, thanks. This is being recorded, and please help us spread it out. I'll put it on YouTube. Let me do this though. Well, my name is hard to spell. If you want us to well, I'll just do that anyway. I was going to say info@the7minutelife. I'll make sure I personally send it to you, life.com. So if you want to see it, but otherwise you'll be able to see it on YouTube. So we've talked about this just by being aware. Oh, thanks, Keith. By just being aware of this, what's going to happen if you have some kind of tool where you turn to a day like this, and I'll blow this up in just a minute so you'll see it, and you step out of the noise and you begin to plan. So here is what shower planning looks like. This top one is shower planning, and I won't have any true confessions. I do some shower planning periodically, but shower planning is where you wake up, you have no idea of your goal total or even your goal for the day. And so you walk in the office or you walk into your home and you start picking up paper or looking at an email and you start reacting to whatever's in front of you. And so at the end of the day, you end up having spent your time on low effort, low value things because there was no effort. And Jose asked a question of how is this different from the 7 quadrants? And this is, you'll kind of see that. I love Stephen Covey and the quadrants. This is actually developing artificial intelligence internally. So you'll see that in just a minute. This is so great because I want to be able to plot that out. So here's shower planning. You may do a couple of things that are really hard, high effort, high value, but probably only one thing that you were really proficient in, one thing that you really love doing. And when you only do one thing a day that you love doing, guess what? You don't love your job. What would happen if you took 7 minutes, remember, and we'll show you what that looks like in just a second. If you took 7 minutes to create a written plan, not some kind of mental to-do list, but a true written plan of action, that was goal-directed, and you could write them down. I mean, literally on a piece of paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. Now, I think one of the things that's different is that we can't do everything. We can only do a few things. So what if you wrote down intentionally, these things are going to move me forward. And if I only get these 5 things done, I will have done enough. That procrastination tiger chases us. If we do 5 important things, but the procrastination tiger is saying, well, you didn't do these things yesterday, we never get to enough. So what if we drew a line in the sand and said, okay, I know I can't get all those things done, but today is a new day. I have a clean slate. What are the 5 things that I'm going to intentionally choose to do? And then I'm going to do them. Imagine what would happen if at the end of a day, the end of a week, the end of a month, you could see that you're focusing on the high value. And oh, by the way, even if this is hard and high value, the more often you focus on accomplishing that, it becomes easier and easier and easier to do. So I'm going to stop there again for just a second. Let me try to recap as we're going through this. We started out talking about there are thousands of things as dots. Those thousands of things become mental clutter. Those thousands of things cause us to pick up one thing and not start it. So we procrastinate. We say, oh, I'll put that thing back down and I'll do it tomorrow. Let me just get some feedback. Is some of this making sense? We're not even aware of what our goals are. We know we need to prospect, but it's too hard. So how can we make it easier? What if you only had to call 5 people instead of 100 people? What if we took some of this pressure off of ourselves because I could call 5 people? And so the big takeaways that I want you to get from this, that we actually do have low value tasks. We do have high value, and they are not hard to tell the difference between low value and high value. It's almost like you could write a list of, here are the low value things I'm spending my time on, here are the high value, or just kind of like Weight Watchers where you write everything down. That would be a great thing, is write every task down, and at the end of the day say, you know, this was high value, this was low value. And here's where we get to the point of how this is different and how I believe it's going to be really, really helpful for people. What I was saying a minute ago as far as networking is that I'm in the midst of a tech startup because people want to plot these things out. I think you can kind of see what that would look like. So imagine if this went, I mean, obviously you can do this on a piece of paper as well, but in the next 6 months or so, you'll also be able to do that via paper or via an iPad or iPhone. So let's say that this is today, and our plan is a 90-day platform. So if you can kind of draw the same thing, these are your goals for the next 90 days. First thing that you have to do to get out of procrastination is you truly have to see a vision that inspires you. We forget that. You know, I need to see that these webinars that I'm doing now, I have this vision that at the end of the day, it's going to help you. Purpose is always outward focused. And I'm seeing some questions. Do you recommend morning or evening for the next day? I'm going to, that is the best question, or not the best question, but such a great question, Nancy. I'm actually going to answer that as we move forward in this class. But you have to have some kind of goal that's an end result. You know, what do you see? Because if you haven't clarified that, you will have no idea if you've hit it. So here's today, here's the future. You take 7 minutes, which we'll show you how to do in just a second. You think through, and as you go through the day, you can begin to plot out the actions that you take. And you can do this actually right now. Just take a sheet of paper and do it and see which things you're spending your time on. This is what I would guess most people spend their time on. And that's why we don't make money. That's why we're frustrated, is that instead of taking high value action, we just take action. We're busy. We procrastinate on the things that we should be taking action on. And I'm not really sure why, because there's only a few things. And that's what leads to this, is that here's today, here are our goals, but how many things are you doing right now that are down here, that are high effort, but low value? Let me explain high effort. High effort is sitting, staring at your cell phone, deciding whether or not you're going to call a prospect, or writing down somebody's name, and feeling that pressure of it's high effort, it's hard, am I going to call them? How many times have you written a list of prospects' names, and all the action you've done is write them down? So you've written them down, you've maybe spent 2 hours creating a list, but you've never picked up the phone to call them. So you spent all this time doing something, and then we're afraid to call them. And part of why we're afraid to call them is we may have 30 people on the list, and it's intimidating. What would happen if you became aware of these things that were high effort, that you hated doing, and you just said, you know what, I'm not going to do those anymore? Can you imagine how much more time that we would have? And Janina, I'm not quite sure if I'm saying that, has a great question. Should we mix personal and work time now that work? Absolutely. And we'll try to clarify that for you in just a moment. But what if we could reduce these things? It's okay to have high effort, high value, because you'll get better and better and faster at doing those things. So sometimes I say, if it's hard, bring it on. I can't wait, because I know if I do it over and over again. But what would happen if you just took 5 high value actions and you did them day after day after day? In 1 week, in just 7 days, you would accomplish 35 high value actions. Now, think about what that would do to your business. If you made 35 phone calls, if you followed up on someone that had said, no, that's not of interest, or already have a realtor or whatever, and you didn't make it, I don't know, hard. You just said, I'm going to do 5 of these things a day, 5 things that are important, or 5 new people, or take somebody to coffee and say, you may not be interested in buying a house. If you are, call me, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the world and people are selling houses and buying houses. And I'm passionate about helping people. Tell them to call me. I mean, I hope you can tell I'm passionate about time management. You know, I love to speak to groups. That's how I got to know the Florida realtors. And so, you know, if people have groups, I want to talk to your groups. We want you to use our tools. Who are you telling about your business? If you did 5 high value things a day over 7 days, you'd accomplish 35 things. But remember, this is a 90-day platform. Let this sink in. If you would accomplish 5 high value activities for the next 90 days, you would accomplish 450 high value actions in the next quarter. Let me take a breath again. I'd like to get some feedback as we're coming up on the last pieces of this, of how you actually execute this. Let's get some chat going, some feedback going about why this is so important. As you're beginning to chat, procrastination, I'm going to go back to these slides. Procrastination, well, time is always moving forward. There's a beginning of the day and the end of the day. Again, let's see some chat on what you're learning. What are the things that are sticking out in your mind right now as I kind of do a quick review? So 3 steps to get more done. First, we have to identify what procrastination is, that we have far too many things, that we have a ton of things that are really low value. The second thing is we've talked about high value, and the best way to understand high value is to sit down with a team of 3 or 4 people and talk about it and say, duh, we know these are high values, and you walk out of the room and for the next 15 minutes you call 5 people. So then the 5 things, for most people, the big takeaway is if I just did 5 things, not 1,000 things like you see here, not making indecision, but to be decisive and not feeling anxiety that I have to do 100 things, but I can just do 5. So I'd like to see more people. Linda, thank you. I'd like to get the high effort completed, but I don't like the task. Well, that's why we have to either get better and better about that. And so, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I agree. I know that I can do 5 high value things. So here's how you execute it. I've kind of helped you. Hope I've kept you hanging here. And then I'm going to save the last few minutes for questions. So kind of keep up with questions. Your plan doesn't require more efficiency. It doesn't require more time management. It does not require more productivity. What it requires is a commitment to do 5 things. It's really understanding what's high value, becoming aware of those things. So how do you do it? Now, again, let me type into chat. Keith, if you're still there, you may be able to help me. Whoop. If you go to the 7minutelife.com and you click on the navigation that says tools, tools, it will take you into a navigation. It says you have to log in and register. You can, but I've actually taken that off. And all you have to do is scroll down on the 7minutelife.com, click on the tools page, and they're completely free. And the first one in the top left is the daily progress report. So here's how you solve the problem. You download the daily progress report. Thanks, Keith. First thing you do is, today is Tuesday, the 16th, 2020. If you're on our classes, I'll say this over and over again. The first thing we have to do is take ownership of our own day. There's so many times that I want to blame the circumstances or blame something else when I know I can always get 5 things done. So first thing I want to do, it's an undated place. The birthday tool asks for a password. I got to fix that. I'm not sure. Somebody send me an email at info@the7minutelife, and we'll go from there. So first thing we have to do is take ownership of our day and say, today is my day. This is how things happen. The second step is, I believe everybody on this call needs some kind of a repeatable tool, a repeatable process, a repeatable tool where you can keep everything in one location. So if you want to go through this using the free platform, which is great, just go to Member Tools. Keith has put that in there. Download the daily progress report and use the same tool over and over again. The more often you use something, the more proficient you're going to begin to be. So you download it, you create a repeatable place, you take ownership of your day, and you create your 5 before 11. So again, I'm going to open it back up. I want you to think through what are 5 things you could do even this afternoon. So that'd be before 11 p.m. But tell me some things that you could make a commitment to do today. If you'll put them in chat, what are some specific things? In fact, even make it more specific. You can put prospect in there, but put the initials of someone's name, like my initials are AL. Put the initials of someone's name that you could call today. Go ahead and make a commitment by just putting the initials of one person that you could call, like call old contacts. That's a perfect example. Kim, who are 2 old contacts, just the initials that you could call? And by just being aware and printing this thing out and putting, I'm going to call AL and I'm going to call Douglas or whoever, call PF today. See, great. By just writing down 2 or 3 things, you've now made a commitment. It's very specific. It's very clear. It's already the middle of the day, but what if you could take 2 high value actions? That'd be awesome. I love this. Good. So this is how you begin to break down procrastination, is you find a tool that works for you and you begin to say, I'm not going to do 1,000 things, but I'm going to do 5. That's the whole key of what we're talking about. So creating your 5 before 11 list. What are the 5 highest value actions that I'm going to complete before 11 a.m.? And these things have to be micro actions. They have to be tiny things. Pick up the phone and call. It has to be actionable. And action always begins with a verb. So it'll be call Allyson. It'll be email. It will be hopefully show house. It will be, open house, where you've actually planned it, but now you're going to do it. A 5 before 11 has to be an action. It has to be some kind of action. So here's how I'm going to close on this slide, and then I'm going to open it up. Why 7 minutes, and how do you really get started with all this? And I am doing a class Friday about how to use the tool to create a written daily plan of action. I'm not really sure how to get you that link. Maybe at the end of this, if I can, I don't know how to do that. I guess if you'll, okay, I don't usually do this. I'm going to put my cell phone in here, okay, as in no joke, 870-897-4494. Okay, this is my personal cell. I should have planned ahead. If you will send me a text that says, I'd like to come and hear about how to create a written plan of action in more detail, just text me your email address, I guess. Wow, I didn't really mean to do that. There are a lot of people on the call, but send me a text with your email on my cell and say, I want to join that class. It's free. There's no cost for it. So also, if you want your team to join, have your team join. We're really excited about bringing all this to life. But how 7 minutes, and why 7 minutes? They're 24 hours in a day. You'll see where the theory comes down. That's, if you break down 24 hours, that's 1,440 minutes. I ask people to take 1% of their time, which is 14 minutes, to do this, to truly take out a piece of paper of some kind. Of course, I use the tools that I've created because I don't want to have to reinvent anything. I use some place where I can hold everything. And so I take 7 minutes, I physically pick up my iPhone, I set the timer for 7 minutes, and I do this. I look at what projects I'm working on. So what are the things that you're actually working on? I look at what I did yesterday. So I go back and I look at my to-do list from yesterday. I look at the actions that I completed yesterday. I think about what my long-term goals are, and I ask a simple question, which is, what is my goal for today? And I look at my calendar and I see how many meetings I have, because if I've got 5 meetings going on, I can't do 1,000 things. So I really have a very specific path that I use to plan. And I do use my personal and my work things together. And so I take 7 minutes in the evening to plan and 7 minutes in the morning to plan. And that's what we're going to be talking about on Friday. So I apologize for not really having something up there. But then I can decide what those 5 things are. So if you could accomplish 5 things, just as a quick wrap up, 5 things for 7 days, can you imagine 35 high value actions? If you did it for 90 days times 5, 450 actions, your business would never be the same. And oh, by the way, if you do 5 and 5 and 5 and 5, not only do you get them done, but you become better at doing them. You become more proficient as a prospecting person. You come up with contracts more quickly. You're able to do all of those kind of things. So I'm going to close with these 3 slides. Be thinking about any questions that you might have. And let me put my cell phone in here. Okay, so y'all are, this truly is my personal number, 870-897-4494. So if you're looking in chat, make sure that you write that down. Be thinking about your questions. You can text them to me, but the 7-minute life, I really want to create awareness. And as you look at this image, unless you've seen it before or you've watched me teach it, because this is so important to me, it's such an important image. When you look at this, most people see absolutely nothing. It looks like a blob. And they do their planning the same way. They wake up knowing that they have some kind of something to focus on, but they're not sure. Kind of back to the procrastination piece. They don't have a vision. They don't have that clarity. But if you step back and you look at things, I'm going to show you what this really is. This actually is something. It's actually the image of a, if you can put it in chat, what is this a picture of? It's a picture of a cow. And so the picture was always there. Let me take it back. Can you see it now? This picture was always there. Let me go all the way back to the first one. But you couldn't see it, right? You could see all these different things. And that's how I see people looking at their day, is that they have all these things, but they don't have a clear vision of what they need to do today. So the point of today's class was procrastination, is to not have millions of things to do, but to clearly see what is my one goal for the day and what are the 5 high value actions that are going to take me toward that goal. So we've got about 4 minutes left. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to try to open it up for questions. While we're doing that, I don't think I can go get the Zoom link. Oh, I know how to get the Zoom link. Hang on. I can pull it out of an email. Just a second. If you will, let's see if I can copy this link. Oh, I think I did it. See if this is on how to create a written plan of action. How to create a written daily plan of action. Daily plan of action. Again, it's free if you'd like to come. See, can somebody say if that works? And please go ahead. I always feel when I'm teaching these webinars that, or when I'm attending webinars, that people don't give me time to ask a question. So I'm going to take a sip of water. Let me know feedback, how you can help me. And this is the same conversation I would ask you to have with other people, is that I'm a time management trainer. I love training for the Florida Realtors Association. I'm so happy and proud to try to represent them today. But if you have other organizations or other places to speak, contact us. Tell your friends about it. Send that link to people, to teams. You know, we had almost 300 people register today, but we want to have thousands of people register. And so right now we're covering very technical pieces of information about procrastination and how do I create my 5 before 11. But there's so much more. And so please help us. Tell your friends. We do have tools. You can go and look at those, but I'm here for you. I'm here to represent the Florida Realtors Association. Let me just get some quick feedback. Any questions? I hope you enjoyed today. It's absolutely a pleasure. So let me just see if there are any other comments, any questions. This is my passion. And so when will this be on YouTube? That's a great question. Hopefully by tomorrow, but it's pretty tough. I've got 2. I'm a little bit behind. I've got 5 of them coming up. Linda, I know you're brand new. I'm so glad you were here. Are there any questions at all? Because I'm just delighted that you're here. And people are still on the call. Great. I'm interested in going forward. Dan, thank you. Truly, if there's some of you that just want to reach out and chat, feel free. It's funny. I call authors all the time. Can we see the other videos? Yes, you can. I'm creating a playlist in YouTube for these free videos. So again, I don't know how to get it out to you. I don't have, maybe I will send it out. I'll try to figure all this out. We're here really to serve the Florida Realtors. So it's been an absolute privilege, honor. Thank you for being here. We're still getting things in. Name of the book, tomorrow. I don't procrastinate. I love that. Oh, the name of the tool. The tool that you saw is the 7-minute life daily plan, the daily progress report. Are you progress report? If you're talking about the tool itself, you can go to the 7minutelife.com. I know, Keith, if you're still on the call, click on the navigation button that says tools, and it's the bottom left one. If you're talking of, are you talking about this book, the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner? This is a whopping $14. We don't make money on this. This is something that we do because we feel like it can really help people. I'll talk more about this in the class on Friday, but the name of the book is the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner. You can get it on Amazon, or you can just go to the 7minutelife.com and click on the shop. So again, thank you for being here. It's just been amazing. Help us spread the word. Call me, text me. You know, we're really growing, and thanks so much. So make sure that you send an email back to the Florida Realtors Association. Say, hey, love the webinar. I think you have educational directors. So that's all I have. Glad you were here today. Thanks. Bye-bye.